Hey, so in this video, I want to just tell you about some slightly less known but still highly useful tips and tricks that can help you optimize your Amazon Echo usage. I want to show you a couple of different options you have for setting up control of things like your lights, outlets, and switches, because just based on comments, it doesn't seem like a lot of people know how that really, to set that up and get that to work. And then also just want to show you a couple of my favorite ways that I put Alexa to use pretty much every day. And then finally talk a little bit about some of the disadvantages of trying to do too much with a smart home device. So the first up is follow-up mode. So that's just a setting in the Alexa app. All you have to do is enable that. And once you do, you can ask your device multiple questions in a row without having to say the wake word every time. Echo, table lamp on. Dining room 50%. What day is it?
Today is Monday, September 17th.
Tell me a joke. Now, the other thing you can do if you didn't know is you can change the wake word. So if you go into Alexa devices settings and find your device, and you just go down here to wake word, and you can change it to that one, Amazon, Echo, or computer. I like Echo because it's only 2 syllables, so it makes things a little bit quicker. Alternatively, if you do use that one here, you can just use 2 syllables. You don't have to say the whole name. So Alexa, stop. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 9:39.
So there you go. So it works a little bit, I mean, it's a little bit quicker. It does sound more like a stripper, but what are you gonna do? And then the last settings tip I have is what's called brief mode. So if you turn on brief mode, it won't respond okay every time it finishes a command. It will just play a chime for you, which I prefer a little bit more. Ceiling lights off. Ceiling lights on. Now, when it comes to being able to control lights with your Amazon Alexa device, there's a few different options you can go with. Now, the most simplest and straightforward way is if you are in a room where you just have normal, typical, standard light bulbs. All you have to do is get, Alexa compatible light bulbs that can communicate directly with the device, and then you'll be able to control everything. You'll be good to go. Or you can get like the Philips Hue set, which uses a hub that plugs into your router, and the Echo device communicates with the hub and controls your lights that way. There's no real best option, but what I wanted to show you is the other options you have available, where if you're probably like most people, you have a mix of lights like I do here in the living room, like with the table lamp, or there's overhead lights that you can't really control with smart bulbs because they either don't make smart bulbs for that style fixture or size. And so there's some other options I want to show you that you can still get everything to be able to be controlled in a room, either using like a smart light switch or smart outlets, and I just want to show you how I have it set up here for me, and hopefully that gives you some ideas to be able to use in your own setup. Now, the first option I wanted to show you here is a smart outlet. So this one is made by Insteon, and this communicates with a hub. What I like about this is there's controls on the side, so you can just turn whatever device you have plugged into it on or off. You can also hold it down to change the brightness levels. But what's cool about this is that it is dimmable. Not every smart outlet is dimmable, so some are just simple on and off, which may work for your own application. But of course, I like to be able to dim the light in here. Amazon makes a cheap one for 25 bucks. There's a lot of other ones that you can buy where it's just like sleek and it doesn't take up too much space. Now, another option you can get is this device made by Belkin. This is a Wemo Insight switch, and what I like about this smart outlet is it's not dimmable, unfortunately, but what is cool about it is it monitors your energy usage. So you can go in the app and see how many kilowatt hours you're using for whatever device is plugged in there, and it will also give you an estimate on roughly what it costs to run that device on a monthly basis, depending on your usage. You can also set schedules and timers with the app on this switch as well, which is not every outlet's capable of that as well. So there's a few different kind of outlets you can want depending on what your application is. So anyways, that's a good option. Now, what I was mentioning over here is with the light switch. So you can get smart light switches. This is a rocker style dimmer one. Not all light switches are going to be dimmable, but you can get either one depending on what your setup is. But what's useful about that is, as I was mentioning here in the living room, I have these light bulbs which are, I don't know what style they are, but they're kind of small, and you can't always get Wi-Fi enabled bulbs that are going to fit in every light fixture. So what you can do though is just get something like this where you have a switch which is controllable. This actually this is an Insteon switch as well, and it communicates with the same hub that I use with the outlet I just showed you. Anyways, just want to show you that is one way you can go with when you have certain lights that you can't really swap out the bulbs. Now here I have these 3 dining room lights, which I could obviously swap the bulbs out, but I happen to like the incandescent style light that these give off. So what you can do is, again, just get another switch, and I just want to show you this one. I went with a different option here. I could have got another Insteon one, but this is another one made by Wemo, which works pretty cool, and it has this little pulsating light to give you feedback, which is cool. And this is touch, I guess it's touch activated. So the main difference between this and the Insteon one is this actually doesn't really require using a hub. You just, if you're comfortable switching out an outlet, you just put that in and you're good to go. There's no need to mess with the hub. So that's another option you can use as well. And then finally, I have this random spotlight in here. It's a green color right now, but I basically have a Philips Hue light plugged into that accent light. And so that can be controllable with my voice, and of course it can change colors. So it's cool to have a little accent light like that, I think. Now ultimately in the end, what that allows me to do is control all of these sets of lights that I have in my living room under one grouped name. I call it main room, and so I can control either these lights individually by calling, because I call this table lamp, living room, dining room, and then spotlight, or I can just group them all, which I currently call them now main room. So that's easily able to control when I say main room off, and then it will shut all the connected lights on all at once, and you can adjust brightness as well, depending on if you're using light switches and bulbs with brightness capability. So anyways, that hopefully gives you an idea of how you can group all lights, all different lights and stuff you have in a room, and be able to control it with your Alexa device. So to me, there is no real best way to hook everything up. I have a lot of different variety of solutions in here just because as I was piecing things together, different things were being released. But now you can generally get one system that's going to be able to do everything you want. It just depends on how much you want to spend and different abilities you might want, whether dimmable or not, and whether you like certain switches that one company offers over another. One thing I would just suggest is to get the minimal amount of different branded products you can, and that's going to kind of let your system work together a little bit better. Like how I have in my basement, I basically just use all Philips Hue lights, and I really like that. But it's just a matter of the types of lights and fixtures you have in your own setup. But I will leave a link to the description of everything I showed you in here, as well as some other options you might want to check out as well. So here I wanted to show you where I have these rope lights in the garage hooked up to a Wemo switch. And I'll just turn them on here real quick. So you can see I just have them strung up around the corner of the garage, which, I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. But what's really neat is I have them on a schedule, and since they're on the Wemo switch, it tells me exactly how much watts it's using, basically real time. So if I was to turn it off, you can see the usage there at the bottom go to 0 watts, and when I turn them on, it finally gets a reading, and then it tells you, hey, this is using this many watts. And then it calculates, what's cool is it calculates how much it costs you to run that on a monthly basis. So you can see it cost me a little bit over $6 to have these on this timer schedule. And it's just kind of neat. If you had a lamp or something you're curious, just keep it plugged in, and after a little bit of usage, it will tell you how much it costs to run that. What else is cool is when you use these outlets, not necessarily the Wemo ones, but any smart outlet, what you do is you name it whatever you want. So that's how you refer to it when you're using the Alexa app. And then as an example, I have this fan here. This is this little box fan hooked up to a Wemo switch, and whenever you can just call that fan when you name the outlet, and you can say, Alexa, turn the fan on, and then all of a sudden that will like activate the switch, which will switch whatever you have plugged into it. So you can see here how many watts the fan's using on low, and then when I crank it up to 3, you can see slowly the wattage reading goes up, tell you how much it's going to use. So I think these Insight switches are pretty accurate, and really one of the coolest things is with the smart outlets to be able to monitor your energy usage. I think it's pretty neat. I did want to say that one of my favorite devices to be able to control with an Amazon Echo is my thermostat. I use a Nest thermostat, which I personally think is the best. I mean, the form factors really just make sense with having a dial to be able to switch it. It looks great, and also the voice commands you use on it are just really natural. You can see here you can say all these different commands, and it just works. You don't have to really remember specifically commands. You can simply say, what's the house temperature set to, what's the thermostat at, or, set the house to 75, set the temperature to 78. So you can use a lot of different verbiage to be able to get the command across. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Nest is the highest rated smart thermostat on Amazon. It just works really well. There's a lot of devices that are a little bit you might wonder, well, I don't know if it's really worth it. Like you have door locks, some people like those. If you get blinds that are controlled, I don't want to have to ask one device to ask another device to do something for me. First of all, I should never have to ask. I mean, this is a device that should just be commanded and doing what you say. And you can control things like your vacuum cleaner as well, which is cool, but the fact that you have to remember what devices to ask what to do what, it becomes a little bit cumbersome once you get a couple. So I don't think that's really worth it. With that being said, I am going to be reviewing some blinds because I really want to get some blinds here in the basement that are voice controlled. So I'm going to be trying some of those out. If you're interested in checking out that video, please remember to subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching to the end. If you have any questions about anything we've covered or how these Amazon Echo devices work, leave me a comment below. I'll definitely answer them. Thanks a lot for watching. You guys take care.